Good day, ladies and gentlemen. It's the Prairie Banana here. I'm here with Zen, the Gray 369, the founder of pTGC and UFO, on PulseChain, the two index tokens that are bonded to the best, most promising assets on PulseChain that pay passive revenue. And today we're going to be talking through data slides that we've been building over the last more than a year now. And what they do is they show us a history of pTGC and UFO and PulseChain also, and where we were and where we've come, and perhaps, probably, hopefully, they indicate where we're perhaps going. So that's what we're going to be doing today. Zen, you doing well, man?
Yeah, I'm excited for today. I woke up this morning with feeling like today is just going to be a massive pivotal point for PulseChain.
Yes.
With Richard's recent tweets. I'm excited to go over all these stats as well, because I think these stats show just the amount of preparation the pTGC and UFO have done in the last couple of years. And it really showcases how ready we are for what's to come on PulseChain. I just don't know of an ecosystem that's more prepared. And I'm excited to highlight those features and those numbers that you kind of have encased in those slides. And I just feel like it's a perfect day to go over all this stuff, because with Richard's recent tweet about some protocol launching, him being excited about it, I saw people showing that he hasn't been excited, in quotes, about something since PulseChain and PulseX.
Okay.
So since he used that wordage, I'm excited. I think today could be a massive pivotal point for PulseChain. Obviously, PulseChain's looking a little green on the day. I think 5% up on the day, and pTGC is like 9%. So hopefully, this stream marks a turn in tides, and we start making our way in the right direction again.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, man. I too hope this will be a turning point. It's November 7th. And that's a good number, 11/7/25. I'll take it. From what I understand, the 24 hours is up, because he hinted he's going to let us know in 24 hours. And I guess it's up at the top of the next hour. I haven't fact checked that from the X post, but that's what I heard from another chat. So whatever announcement it is might be announced while we are streaming. So if somebody, here's what it is, please drop it in the chat. And then maybe you and I can pivot over and have a look at it and discuss it, even perhaps publicly.
Yeah. If it's something that requires urgent action, we might even need to put a little pause on,
Sure.
just so I can kind of make some calls. I want to be tuned in for our ecosystem if any actions need to be taken. If we're live. So just keep that in mind. We might need to put everything on pause and, kind of just judging on what comes out. If it's an urgent matter, I don't think it's going to be an urgent thing, because I don't think he would launch something that is like, oh, you need to be by your phone within 2 minutes, or you're not getting properly exposed to this thing. But just in case it is.
Yeah. Yep. You never know. So with that in mind, I'm actually going to pull up his Twitter and have it ready to go just in case, so we can read it and such. Yeah, Richard Hart is a man of surprises. I can tell you that. So I think what we'll do, Zen, is just pop these slides up one by one and review them one by one. And because there's over just a fuzz over 50, probably take like a minute. Some of the slides, it's like, okay, some of the slides I did not update because there was really nothing. They're fine as they are. But most of the slides I did update with the data that we got from October. Some of the slides we might want to spend more time on, some less.
Yeah, if we got 50 of them, we'll try to keep moving pretty quick. I guess for anyone in the chat, if there's any slide you want us to spend a specific amount of time on or give a little bit more attention to, maybe say something in the chat like, hey, can we spend a little bit more time on this slide or something like that?
Sure. Yep. Okay.
I love the shirt.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I do too.
It looks cool next to like my PFP, and then you're like rocking the shirt, same logo. It's kind of cool.
Yeah. It's the greatest currencies around here, man. The PulseChain checkmate. So here's the first slide: volume and price performance. Now, if you're familiar with the previous slide, the price and the volume have decreased a little bit since the August slide. There was more price and more volume, and it's just decreased a little bit. As far as pTGC, I think all of them changed, but most significantly was pTGC, and that's just because price has been down a little bit and volume has been down a little bit since August.
Yeah, we found when PulseChain goes into these lower ranges and when volume slows down on chain, pTGC's volume naturally usually slows down as well, just due to everything on chain being priced lower. When things become priced lower, that usually means less value needs to be moved around to fix prices for movements on the charts. For an example, if we're up 5x from here and PulseX went on a massive move, well, arbitrage bots would have to move 5 times the amount of money. Compared to here, it's 5 times less, which then equals more volume. This is one reason we're excited for the growth of PulseChain, because we're not only going to get more interaction from users and more value on chain, but market makers will need to move that much more value to fix the pairs between our liquidity web. The bots will need to fix more, or move more value to fix pairs.
Right. Here's our market cap. pTGC and UFO up, 400% versus, and we're not beating up RH Course around here. We love Richard Hart. We love his core assets. We're bonded to those assets, depending on them to drag our prices up, but we are outperforming them. Hex up 50%, eHex up 70%, and then PulseX up 35%, and then Pulse and Inc. actually down from August of 2024 to October 2025. It just is what it is. And it's not going to be that way forever either. So it'll be interesting to see where we are 6 months from now, the market cap performance. I don't think Pulse or PulseX are going to be in the negatives. I think they're definitely going to be in the positives, but how much more market cap is pTGC and UFO going to be in reference to the core assets? That's
when I see the suppression going on of the main core assets, especially like our 2 biggest LPs being Pulse and PulseX, and PulseX is up 35%, but still that's nothing crazy. What that just keeps screaming to me is opportunity in the grays, right? Even though the grays are up in a year and a couple months, the fact that all the assets that they're bonded to, or a lot of the assets that they're bonded to, are still being suppressed, PulseChain being down 7%, that's just screaming opportunity on pTGC, because when those things start to increase, we're obviously going to get the reflexivity of that, but that's an also indicator of new users and new value flowing into the chain. Every time new value has flown into the chain, a lot of it has made its way to pTGC, and you can kind of see that on the price charts when you overlay them.
Yep. Now this one's a little bit complicated. This is probably the most complicated slide. Well, there is one other one. It's a new slide, but this one highlights the price, volume, reflections, and staking yield for pTGC from August 2024 through October 2025. And there's improvement, right? Now, if you look at the reflections and staking yield, you notice that the yield decreased in tokens, but increased in dollar amount. And it's that way. It's just a function of how the system works. As price goes up, and it has since August, the value of pTGC has increased. As price goes up, you earn fewer tokens, but notice the dollar amount increased, and the same with staking. So our users were earning more than double for holding, almost triple for staking PTDC from August to October.
Yeah, one thing I'm looking at, where did you pull the volume from, the total monthly volume from? Is that
Look into.
is that one pair, or look into PTGC gives you the whole month's volume?
Yes. Yeah. Gives me 30 days. Why does it look off?
Not necessarily. I was just wondering where you got that data from.
Okay. I wouldn't bet my life on all of this. No way.
Okay.
It's too much. And it's just one guy making all these slides. So I mean, it's definitely imperfect somewhere. I don't know where it is, but it's cool to see the improvement, right?
It's definitely cool to see the improvement. Like, one thing that stands out to me there is the increase in volume compared to the increase in price.
Mm-hmm.
So seeing that the volume, even though it's not exact, but the volume that we're getting monthly is also increasing as we see the price of PTGC increasing. Maybe it's not 7x, but it's up there. But then the main thing I pay attention to isn't necessarily the PTGC price, but the price of PulseChain, right? Because when PulseChain goes up, this is going to increase the value of all the liquidity pools, which makes it to where market makers need to move more value. And PulseChain is down in this time frame. It's down 7%, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we can see our volume has increased over 3x. So what we're getting additional volume from is the growing of the PTGC asset. If that's a little bit of price, if that's a little bit of us adding liquidity constantly, if that's increasing our holder base, which just increases more movement of value. But PLS, I think, is going to be the biggest increaser or catalyst to our increase in volume, I guess would be a better way to say it.
Yep.
And we literally have seen nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah.
That old saying, "You ain't seen nothing yet," applies on PulseChain.
I honestly believe or it's not even believe, we've seen it multiple times already. Every time PLS moves up, this rapidly increases our volume. This rapidly increases our price. So right now I'm looking at this, and we can see a 3x in volume in the last year and 2 months, but PulseChain hasn't increased at all. It's actually gone down by 7%. So I believe that increasing here soon is the massive catalyst for getting that volume going back up, and also price going back up too.
Oh yeah, man. And I'm looking forward to, what if something like big happens and we have a lot of volume in one day? I'm just excited for there to be a lot of upheaval, and to see a 5 million volume day in PTDC and a 5 million volume day in UFO. And it doesn't need, I'm not talking about like just a token runs up or runs down, like the whole network just popping off for whatever reason. And I'd like to see that every day, but if we could just see it one day, that'll be good, almost good enough.
Yeah, getting our averages up, which will come from our own ecosystem growing and also PulseChain's ecosystem growing in general, is going to be so awesome to see. I think in the last year, our average daily volume is $250,000 a day. But right now we're a little bit lower than that because, PulseChain's lower than that. So we're at kind of a lower range right now. But if we can get our yearly average from 250,000 just a 10x, well, that's 2.5 million. You know what I mean? So if we can start getting ourselves, and this could come from, a 10x on PulseChain or whatever. If we can get our averages at those levels, well, then the next milestone for us to get, or the next goal would be, okay, let's get from $2.5 million a day, let's get to $25 million a day, right? And we've all done the calculations of what like $25 million a day could do for dolphin-sized positions, shark-sized positions of PTGC. At that point, your passive income is enough to live a pretty nice life off of, and you don't even need to touch your initial supply. And then we know that the with 25 million in volume, the buy and burns happening just from the automatic functions within PTGC and UFO, they're going to keep that asset very, very scarce.
Yeah. And just so you know, I get the volume from Look Into PTDC, which shows the 30-day average. So I take the 30-day average and multiply it by the number of days that I'm doing this data
cool.
set for.
Yeah, that's a great way to do it. Because I was like, oh, I don't think I saw that stat on Look Into PTDC, but I see what you're doing now. You're coming up with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, cool.
And for UFO, same thing. Average price at the top, total volume, reflections, and your reflections for UFO are in UFO, and then LP yield, which is in Pulse. So, and as you can see, as the price, as volume has increased, about a double, a little less than a double, the price, let's see, and the price increased, then it's almost like those two bars under the reflection should be a little more similarly sized. No, I take that back. I was looking at the price. You see how you get fewer tokens in reflections because the price increased.
Yeah, you're getting fewer tokens in reflections. One thing I find really interesting is the increase in quantity of PLS. Is that what that bottom bar is?
Yes, that's tokens in PLS. Well, it's because, the price of Pulse has dropped since August 2024, I think. Is that making sense? I think we lost him. He'll be back in a second.
No, I'm here. One of my employees had a quick question for me. It was urgent, so I had to put you on pause for a sec, but I'm back. Okay. But yes, I just found that so interesting. The UFO shares value has increased drastically in the last year and a couple of months, which is so interesting because I don't mean like the value of the UFO share. We know that's increased because prices went up, but just what it's earning quantity-wise of PLS has just drastically increased as well.
Yeah.
Where reflections have decreased because UFO's price has significantly increased, but PLS's price has not increased, but the value generation has. So that's why it's happening that way. So you, in dollar value, you are actually earning somewhat similar in UFO reflections, but in quantity of tokens, it's so much lower because the price per token of UFO has went up drastically. But since PLS is the same price in this time frame for the most part, you can actually see how much that in the last year, the APY has increased just on UFO for your UFO shares if you held on to them.
Right. That's fun stuff. And then, of course, performance in USD from August 2024 to October 2025. PTDC up 580%, UFO up 472. It's hard to see that UFO one. Sorry, guys. And then Hex, Pulse, the core assets not up quite as much, to put it kindly.
Yeah, definitely.
And the same thing, but priced in PLS, not USD. Same time frame.
Cool. Yeah, that's cool.
PTDC performance in core asset terms. So what we did is we pitted this is PTDC valued not in USD, but in WPLS terms in PulseX, Hex, Inc, and PDI.
Yeah, so these are all against the core assets, like in those specific liquidity pairs.
Right. And we have been moving up against those core assets. It's wonderful. And then UFO, same thing, same scenario for UFO. Up against core assets. PTDC and WPLS and USD. And this is obviously a, how do you put it? You can see it over time, the fluctuations in USD in the green, WPLS in the purple.
Yeah, very similar. Very similar.
Yep. And we had our all-time high in February of this year. And then UFO, very similar. Yeah. All-time high in February.
Yeah, you can kind of see in the last, it looks like 6 months, if I'm reading it correct. It's kind of small on my screen. Against Pulse has been very, very flat, not too dramatic.
That's correct.
With UFO.
Yep. PTDC and USD and Pulse volume. So in the dark yellow is PTDC price, light yellow is PTDC volume, and the purple is Pulse volume. You can give me any feedback on these slides, Zen or guys.
I think these are great illustrations showing how correlated price is with volume.
Yeah.
And how correlated PLS volume is with PTDC volume as well, which also is PLS price is also correlated with PTDC volume as well. They're like almost interchangeable because they have so much liquidity together and they're bonded with so many of the same assets. If you look at like everything's heavily bonded to PLS, you can also look at everything heavily bonded to PTDC, and it's very, very similar.
Same thing with UFO. So UFO price is in the dark green, UFO volume in the light green, and Pulse volume in purple. Very similar to the PTDC chart. PTDC, UFO, and Pulse volume. So we have Pulse volume in the dark green, PTDC volume in the light green, and UFO volume in purple.
Sweet. Yeah, just again, so correlated. You can kind of see them making the same moves at the same time.
Yes, except for February. February Pulse's volume dropped, but PTDC and UFOs increased. Makes me want to go check out that slide. What slide is this? 13. It would be 13.
Well, it looks like after February, UFO's volume increased, but PTDC and PLS's volume decreased.
Okay. PTDC, UFO, and Pulse price. Dark green is Pulse's price. Light green is PTDC price, and purple is UFO's price. Lots of squiggly lines, right?
Real quick, if we go back to that other one, I was kind of looking at it for a sec. Not exactly right, but I was like almost looking at like PLS almost seems like it was like creating like more of a moving average of PTDC and UFO. For a while, it was kind of staying in between where more drastic moves were coming out of PTDC and UFO just due to reflexivity. A lot of people like to look at it like as a leverage play, as like when PLS moves up, PTDC and UFO move up more, but also when PLS starts moving down, a lot of times these assets on top of those other assets, alt tokens usually, move down more just due to reflexivity also. And you can kind of see this besides that last month on PLS where it like drastically dropped back down, and it looks like PTDC and UFO held up a little bit better. But for the most part, you know, what it seems like is an amplification of what PLS is doing. You know, if PLS is coming downwards, we maybe get hit a little bit harder on the PTDC and UFO end due to reflexivity. but you can see how much drastically more it moves up when the value of PLS actually starts increasing. And this is what I think is going to happen when that value starts working its way back over to the chain and PLS starts making its way up, is we'll see a drastic increase in value for pTGC and UFO just based on everything in the past and how these LP pools function.
Yeah. I almost feel like as time progresses, as adoption increases on PulseChain, I almost feel like these tokens will pop off, all of them, and these lines that we see will be I think they'll be more symmetrical and less all over the place sometimes, just because the network will be, alive, because we've just been floundering for many months. pTGC ratio and price. So pTGC against Pulse in green and pTGC price in yellow.
Very, very similar.
Mm-hmm. Same thing with UFO. UFO is in the light green. pTGC total fee distribution in dollars. It's been down a little bit. We still, what was it? Oh, $3 million in volume in October. Wonder what, I'm sure we're about to see our fee distribution. Here's UFO's total fee distribution. Staking yield tracking. This is just how the staking yield has been tracking volume. So your volume is in yellow, staking yield in green. Same with UFO. Dark green is, or blue, whatever color that is UFO volume. And then the dark green is UFO reflections. Light green UFO LP yield.
Very cool.
And here is reflections, staking, and locking rewards per 100 million tokens. So I made it a nice round number so you guys can, if you want to screenshot this, you can see exactly, you can do your own math and see exactly how much you earned if you were holding pTGC or staking it and locking it also for any of these months. You can get a ballpark estimate, I would say. And this is in tokens. And this is in dollars. Same thing, but in dollars per 100 million tokens.
Yeah, I love these charts where they're stacked up on top of each other like this.
Yeah.
Really shows, as you go steps further, like obviously at all-time highs of volume, just being a holder was getting you a decent amount. But then if you go all the way to the right and you look at, okay, the last month, well, if you just kind of put yourself a little bit further out in the ecosystem as far as staking and locking, you're actually earning almost the exact amount as a holder at premier times, like when we're having the best volume. And that's because you're doing those couple steps further, like staking and locking, to get those additional APYs.
This next slide is going to show the value of the token. Now, this one, you're going to have to look at it and think it through. I don't know that I'll be able to talk it through, but let's read the title. pTGC reflections, staking, and locking rewards in dollars per 100 million. The first month, which is in the yellow, is the nominal. The second month is the present. So nominal means at the time, what was the value? So if you look at August 2024, the nominal value was, I don't have the values on here. You'll have to use the gauge. See that $50 line? The nominal value was low, and the current value, which is in the blue, that's what they're currently valued. So any tokens earned at the time in August, they're in the yellow. That's the value in yellow. Now they're worth the blue line. Does that make sense?
Very interesting. Yeah, very interesting. Mm-hmm.
all the way up to current. Of course, October is going to be flat. In August, your tokens were worth more in August than they are now. Let's just tell it like it is. Or in February when we were at our all-time high.
Well, what you received. So what you received was higher quantities. And you received them at a cheaper price. So if the price is somewhat the same and what you're getting was higher quantities, well, then you're kind of in a better spot. But if you were receiving more value, like at our all-time highs, but the quantity was less, if you didn't take profits in that APY and then price came back down, well, then the value of those tokens came back down. So that's why I see a lot of people in the chat, the people who are very long-term that think this is going to certain levels no matter what, they're actually okay with the dips because those dips usually have some volume to them and they're getting additional tokens. So then when prices go back up, the value of all of those tokens they received at cheaper levels are now worth more.
Yep. That's where my head is. So we're going into a set of UFO slides that are very similar. So here is UFO reflections and LP yield in tokens per 100 million. Your reflections are in the dark green and PLS rewards for LPing in the light green. And then in dollars. No, I missed a slide. Okay, it's going straight into that one. UFO reflections and LP yield per 100 million. First month is nominal, what it was valued in that month, and the second month is the current value.
Cool. Yeah. UFO comes out a little bit different. UFO held, I wouldn't say the value held up, but you're getting very, very good value in those pumping months of last year. And it's all kind of came down relative, because I feel like UFO took a really, really hard dip on that last move up, which kind of makes sense because it was its first substantial move. So it never had like a big consolidation moment like pTGC did like 2 times prior, to where like the system was able to consolidate a little bit and distribute the supply to stronger hands, and weak hands could kind of leave and new hands could kind of buy the dip. Where pTGC went through like 2 of those experiences already, the last big run up on PulseChain was UFO's first. So it kind of makes sense that it got hit kind of very hard on price, more than pTGC at that time. I think just because there was still a lot of weak hands in the system, because of it being its first massive run. And it did a massive run right off the bat. It sat at roughly 2 mil for a while, a few months. And then when PulseChain picked up, both pTGC and UFO went up 50x, where UFO came out so much later, it didn't have the time that pTGC had to distribute the supply and kind of wash some people out. So I think this next move on UFO is going to be a lot more sustainable because of the supply distribution that's gone on during this, this bear market of PulseChain.
Sure. I'm excited to see what UFO is going to do. I think
that's one thing I think a lot of people overlook about time being out in the market. I want to just bring this up real quick, is a lot of tokens that are newer, the people within those projects haven't been fully tested. And this goes for pTGC and UFO when they first launched as well. There's people in that protocol still that haven't been tested by price moving up or price moving down. Like a lot of people don't realize that price moving down is also a massive test. You're testing them with fear of it never going back up, but then also time, right? If something's very new, it's got the energy, people haven't even been tested with time. And that's what's very, very unique about pTGC and UFO. They're both roughly 2 years old. UFO a little less, pTGC a little bit more. They both have had volatile moves to the upside and volatile moves to the downside. So the community that's here right now, they've been tested in every which way that you could imagine. If they're here, they're here. You know what I mean? it's had that time on the market to prove it. I believe, and I think that's one thing that a lot of people are overlooking is I think the gains on pTGC and UFO are going to be so much more sustainable than a lot of other assets out there that just haven't had enough time to kind of prove themselves.
Yep, agreed. I like what Ebonics Lover said in the chat. He says only care about token count now, and that's what I've been saying the whole bear market. People, they'll look at the price and why is the price down? Don't worry about price. Just get your tokens. They will appreciate later. Here is pTGC's LPs in a pie chart. And it hasn't changed since last month. I don't even know if I had this one last month though. But it's not current. But it's close. It's going to be close. And then the next one is UFOs, LPs. Liquidity. Here's our liquidity. But this is not updated. It's probably going to be close. But this just illustrates pTGCs and UFOs LP with RH cores and then their total LP as of September. And here it is. Now this one's updated. pTGC's liquidity over time from August 2024 through October. It was higher in November 2024 than when we were at an all-time high in February of 25. Is that because PulseChain was valued more?
I'm trying to see it a little bit better. Hold on. So November, yeah, that was probably because PulseChain was most likely valued higher, and when the assets you're bonded to are valued higher, it actually is an increase to your liquidity in a lot better of a way compared to when your asset's price is higher. If your specific asset price moves up 4x, your liquidity does not move up 4x. But if the token you're bonded to moves up 4x, your liquidity actually moves up 4x as well. So growth of the things you're built on is actually a lot more sustainable because the liquidity grows with you. Where if you move against the asset, which we want this also because that's the X multiplier effect, but those X's are a lot less sustainable. That doesn't mean they're not sustainable. They're just harder to sustain because your liquidity starts shrinking as your price is, or the liquidity isn't shrinking. The liquidity isn't growing at as a fast of rate as your price.
Right. And Ebonics Lover makes a great point in the chat. He says at that time, DAI was at its top. And that makes sense.
Yeah, that's a great point too. And that goes back to an asset that we were bonded to doing X's and not just us. So when DAI was at, we got a bunch of good solid liquidity from the growth of that ecosystem, to where in February it was like just us running alone. Everything else was going down.
And of course we lost pDAI in, I think that was April. It could have.
But pDAI hit its all-time high in that November range, and then was already moving down along with PulseChain, while we kept moving up. So our price started going up, but our liquidities were shrinking.
Yeah, and same with UFO. Very, very similar with UFO. The UFO had its highest liquidity was in January, whereas pTGC's was in November.
Yeah, that chart with UFO right there just reminds me of how much of a monster UFO is when these things start cranking. 26 million liquidity.
Gee, man. That's nothing. And We ain't seen nothing yet. You know?
Yeah, that was PulseChain, like not even close to SAC price.
Man. All right, here's pTGC LP with RH cores, October 2025. That's just our LP with RH cores. The biggest one, of course, being Pulse, 1.4 million. And here's UFO LP with RH cores, biggest LP with Pulse. But of course, there's an unshown LP here, which is pTGC and UFO's LP with each other, and that's very similarly sized to their Pulse LP.
Yeah, this again, just seeing how massive those RH ticker LPs with UFO are. You know, the Hex, PulseX, and Pulse. It just reminds me when those things start to move how massive of a protocol UFO is, and it really seems like a lot of the sell pressure of UFO is rinsed out.
Is what now?
Rinsed out. Like
oh.
I think on that massive dip it took, you can see it's kind of created a pretty strong level where it's at right now. It's kind of been coming down a little bit more just because of PulseChain. But as far as like watching sells on it, like you don't see many sells on it. It's like I think a lot of that sell pressure is out of UFO, and on this next move again, it'll be that much more sustainable because the weak hands kind of been rinsed out of it.
Yeah. If Bonix Lover asks about our Peacock LP, I think we have like 7 to 10 grand in LP with Peacock. You can see that, guys, on secretobank.com. You can see LP for pTGC and UFO on Secreto Bank. Tokens available for purchase. Were you going to say something?
I was just going to pull up the exact number. Well, but you can keep going.
Okay. I don't have...
One thing I'm trying to figure out with those tokens available for purchase on the new site that I'm working on, my devs are coming up with a lot higher quantity of tokens. I need to ask them, you know, hey, how is this number so much different?
Right. I'm tracking 2 different data sets on that. This is just the one from the main site.
Which I know that one's low. I definitely know that they don't have all the liquidity pools in there. But Kong's I felt like was pretty accurate, but it's so different than what my devs are coming with. But then my dev's liquidity is kind of at the same level as Kong's liquidity, so it's not really making sense to me. I need to ask them to look at that.
But what this chart does show is the difference over time. I think it's probably a near accurate representation of the total tokens available, even though this is not.
So real quick, the amount of LP we have with Peacock is 15,500.
Okay. It's gone up since I checked last. No wonder. Here is, I love this. Is probably my favorite slide of the whole slide deck. It's pTGC and UFO's percent of PulseChain volume. So you can see that, like in January, for example, we were 2.5% of the entire volume on the network. These 2 little tokens. Last month, we were a little over 1%. But if you look at August, we're a little over 0.5%. So we've come a long way. I wonder where we're going to end up, Zan. You know.
Definitely.
Here's the dolphin position costs. You can see they're on sale right now. $63.02 in October. But we've rallied a little bit since I made this slide last week. So it's a little bit more. But I mean, we're going back to that March level of nearly $17,000 for a dolphin. We're going back, and that's almost a 3x from here.
Yeah, it's funny. I was just kind of looking at these positions the other day, and I was like, you know what? This like almost reminds me of like this isn't a dolphin position of Bitcoin or Ethereum, but like let's use Bitcoin as an example. Like this is like, if someone 10 years ago had a goal of getting 10 Bitcoin, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, gosh, 10 Bitcoin maybe cost me $1,500 or whatever the cost was. I don't know the exact cost of the Bitcoin at that time, but you get what I'm talking about is at that time, it maybe felt like a lot like, oh, I'm only going to get 10 of these for $1,500 or a dolphin position for $1,500. But if you actually find the right product that lasts multi cycles, that is nothing compared to what it can be in the future and what it can do for your future, especially as being passive income machines. Someone who took action on getting 10 Bitcoin for a few $1,000s at one time maybe felt like, oh, that's a lot for a little, but look at what that is now. Now they're holding $1 million+, a little more than $1 million of one of the best store of values that exists today.
Yep. And that's what I think.
And they only had to pay a few $1,000 for that $1 million.
Yep. This is crypto. Things can go really good real quick, or you can just hold on for a couple of years,
Mm-hmm.
Here's UFO dolphin position costs. $1,700 for a dolphin position right now. But it's been as high as 7,000, more than 3x. So that's interesting. The pTGC dolphin cost is almost 3x compared to March, and the UFO is more than 3x. So that tells me UFO is more on sale right now than pTGC is.
Yeah, I think UFO again took that hard hit. All right, I'm just getting a call. Can you hear me all right?
Yep, I can hear you.
Yeah, I think that just goes to show like UFO took a pretty big hit because of it being its first like big run on PulseChain. And I think this is for a lot of assets that haven't done a lot of that consolidation and onboarding and rinsing and getting out old weak hands and getting in new strong hands. That's pTGC's gone through like 4 of those already. UFO has gone through, I'd say you would consider 2 of those. So I think on this next massive move, the sustainability of the next move will be that much stronger.
Okay. I like that. Especially if we have sustainable rewards, that'll be wonderful. Here's the new wallets. Our highest monthly wallet count was in January, 1,434. And since I've been keeping record, which was started in September, this October was our lowest month. And I can tell already that November is going to be more than October. We might even have more than 199 already in November. But yeah, this is an interesting metric, man. As price goes up in pTGC, we onboard more holders and the tokens get distributed also, which is a positive thing.
It's a big thing. Like that's one thing I just really want to hit home about, like at these low levels, especially as time goes on, as new holders come in, even if some existing holders sell, what we're creating is just a way better distributed supply. And the more people that are exposed to pTGC, the better in the future. Because think about on this next move, and I always say, like, if we can get 1,000 new users in before this next move, these are 1,000 people that are exposed to the Grays for the first time, possibly brand new people exposed to crypto. If pTGC goes on a nice 3x move in a short period of time, these people are going to talk to other people that are no coiners or new to pTGC, and that onboarding effect can actually expand and grow. If we don't onboard any new people, that expansion becomes somewhat stagnant. You know what I mean? Because if it goes up 3x, but no one's telling anyone about it, well, price isn't going to go up besides the buy-in burns. besides Hart's Law from assets we're bonded to going up. But the biggest increase in price is from increasing the user base. And actually that increases the value of the ecosystem, because the amount of like believers and convicted holders that you have is where the real value is driven. This is what really makes it multi-cycle. This is what makes it grow bigger than just a social media platform of a few thousand people. Like, this is how it becomes like worldwide and revolutionary, is hitting that in real life group of people and actually onboarding them to crypto. This is like the direction I definitely want us to push as a community, because I see so often on PulseChain just being an attack or a trick of trying to get people's value that's already on chain. And it's like, guys, like, getting people out of their value that's on chain is not helping us. This is actually not increasing the value of the blockchain whatsoever. What we should be focusing on is bringing people from outside PulseChain into PulseChain for the products that we believe in. Not getting people out of one asset into another asset, or getting people out of Hex into pTGC, or getting people out of PulseX into pTGC. What we should be focusing our energy on is, hey, let people hold PulseX and Hex. Like, those are great assets, I think, and they're actually good to keep up in price because pTGC is so bonded for them. So if you are exposing someone who's already on PulseChain, maybe say, hey, maybe consider DCAing one last time, or maybe consider selling something around your house that maybe you don't need to get a dolphin position or a squid position. Or maybe it's someone who isn't even on PulseChain yet, or someone that's not even in crypto yet. These are the real onboards that we want to be focusing on getting into pTGC, not trying to just constantly talk people out that are already on chain of some of the assets that they once believed in. We want a lot of assets to do well on PulseChain, and more importantly, we want all of PulseChain to not be so focused on just spinning the money around on chain, but focusing on bringing new value onto the chain. If all the efforts that I see going on of just trying to talk people out of positions of value on chain already was spent just onboarding people from outside the blockchain, we would be in a way different spot right now on PulseChain and pTGC UFO.
Yeah. And I do believe that we're going to start reaching out to the no coiners of the world and bringing them onto PulseChain and into the Grays currencies. We're moving in that direction. And I think that's a very wise direction, because practically everybody on PulseChain.
If we focus on that as a community, I believe that alone makes pTGC and UFO so different than so many cryptocurrencies that exist
that
out.
One thing. You're correct.
We could be automatically in the top 1% of cryptocurrencies that exist if our user base is made up more than just crypto natives, but a combination of cryptocurrency natives, degens, and in real life investors or onboards. It's a big, big deal.
I'm going to work on that, man.
Yeah, it's a big deal. Us focusing on that kind of stuff is what makes you a multi-cycle system. Getting new users, in real life users, people who, are actually using it as a long-term vessel, not just a short-term flip vessel. A lot of people that are already on crypto use most assets as short-term flip vessels. By us focusing heavily on more traditional people, this makes us so much better as a long-term system and also multi-cycle system compared to 99% of even the successful tokens that exist on blockchain today.
Yeah.
And I believe the product is good enough to tell people about it, right? And that's what I think is very important to see the difference in, is most products you don't feel comfortable telling people about because you don't really even have conviction in it yourself. But I actually believe, just due to 2 years of operation, due to all the numbers, due to the stats, everything that we've gone through in the last 2 years, this is actually a product worth telling people about in the real world.
Yeah, it's good. It's a great place to store value over on PulseChain in crypto. It's safe, been running flawlessly for over 2 years. Here's UFO new wallets. 33. So our lowest month was September. 9 wallets, dude. 9. we tripled the wallet count in October.
That's awesome. And I don't think that's too surprising considering we are putting a little bit more effort towards this onboarding. And I feel like sometimes it just takes that reminder, like, hey guys, like we have more than pretty much every other cryptocurrency out there. And yes, we could sit on our hands and just say, hey, we have code to rely on and to lean on. We don't really need to do anything, but do we want to amplify the success of the system? Or do we just kind of want to let the code do its thing and let the bots do its thing? Well, if we just want to let the code and bots do its thing and, just generate revenue off of what PulseChain's doing, that's cool. We can do that. But or we can put in some effort now and amplify the system 10x in the meantime.
Yep. I think we have like 12 or 13 slides left.
Cool. Let's keep going.
Here's our wallet distribution in dollars, October. So this is just a timestamp. How do you put it? It's a moment in time. This is October. Over on the left, 7,519 wallets that hold $1,000 or less. Is that less? I think that's the less than symbol. 1,930 wallets hold $1,000 to $10,000. And I got this off of Snowflake's site, just so you know. And the one all the way over on the right, of course, is the dead address with greater than $5 million in it. Is that all making sense?
Yep.
Okay. We have some new slides here this month, so I'm asking Zen because you haven't seen these before. And I definitely want your input on them. If anything looks out of the ordinary, Here's pTGC wallet distribution in tokens. So not in dollars, but in tokens. Same kind of setup, but in tokens.
Cool. Yeah, I think that's cool how it showcases what like the most common range is.
Yeah, which is the 1 to 10 million tokens.
And you know what I like about this range too is it's not the standard position size as well.
What do you mean?
So with pTGC, the supply is around it's around what's the total supply? 333 billion. And then obviously you can subtract the dead address getting you at 290 billion. So your ranges would be like 2.9 billion. You get what I'm saying?
The positions, a whale being 2.9 billion.
Yes. And then a dolphin being 0.29 billion. And then a dolphin being 0.029 billion. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yep, I'm following you.
But yours aren't 29 billions. They're in easier numbers that a lot of people kind of look at is, and this is more how UFO is designed to where it's with like 1K to 10K tokens or 10K to 100K tokens or 100K to 1 million tokens, right?
Yep.
So that's not the standard percentages of supplies like a lot of people track. This is more quantity of tokens, which I kind of like how you have it set up because a lot of people, some people are looking at percentages of supply, but some people are like, okay, I can get 10 million tokens, right? And then you can go to your chart and be like, okay, well, if you get yourself 10 million pTGC, you're going to be in a group of 1,397 people. Right now, there's only 1,397 people in the whole world who have actually been able to get that amount of tokens.
Yes, true.
Yep. And there's only so many tokens left.
Yeah. So true. And here's UFO's wallet distribution in dollars. I mean, yes, in dollars, sorry.
Yeah, so like in dollars, I look at like, okay, 10K. If I can get 10K in the UFO, what kind of group of people am I going to be in? Like, right. I'm going to be in a group of only 115 people.
Well,
only 115 people own that much UFO.
10K to 50K.
Yes, but
yeah.
But if you get that 10K, you get up in there, you're now in that category.
Yep. That's exactly how I think. I'm like, how many people am I in a group with? I want the group to be small, right? If at all possible.
Yeah, if you can make your way into those upper groups, you know, obviously like the $1,000 or less group has quite a bit of people in it, you know, and that could be people who just have small bags or bought a little higher and then the price went down, or maybe it's someone who took profits already and left, you know what I mean? And I think that really showcases on how many people these systems have actually bought out throughout the last years or so, that we don't have to buy out later, right?
Yep. Here is the same UFO wallet distribution in tokens.
Cool. Yeah, like this one says a solid range, I think, which is a good goal for people to get to as well. You know, hey, if I get 1 mil to 10 mil, I'm in this group of 1,495 people. If I can go a little further into the 10 mil range, I'm in that group of 1,332 people. Obviously,
Right.
if you can get to 100 mil, you're in that higher group, which, you know, 100 mil isn't cheap. We know that, but it's also not impossible to get to at these current prices. Not easy, but not too hard either.
How pTGC is burned and the total burned. The yellow is pTGC burned by pTGC, the protocol. Green is tokens burned by UFO, and blue is burned by other, which could be other protocols, could be the DAO, you know. So, and I think the DAO has resumed burning tokens, which is
and
wonderful.
you can actually kind of see that on the chart. You know that the Dow has been a little bit light since July, pretty much, or maybe you could even say May as well, since May. But we have started slowly picking that back up, due to us just thinking like, hey, we think we're pretty close to the bottom here. We think PulseChain is going to start making its way to the upside. This is kind of how we've done the DAO in the past, and it's been very, very successful for our ecosystem. So no need to switch a strategy that's done 50x moves every time PulseChain's done a 5x.
Yeah. UFO tokens burned. UFO tokens burn. pTGC doesn't burn any UFO tokens. So
yeah, UFO's on its own.
Yeah.
Doing well though. Doing well. We're at 8-point-something% on UFO. Supply,
today.
bought, and burn.
Oh, supply. Okay.
Yeah. 8-point-something%. I think 8.6 or something like that.
Yeah, I think that's very close. Here's how much pTGC was unlocked early. So you can lock pTGC. If you stake it, you can lock it also. And then some people unlock their pTGC early and pay the 30% penalty, which goes to all the other lockers. And here is a history from January of how much has been unlocked every month. It varies quite a lot. But
yeah, it definitely varies. Cool to see it pick up in October, though.
Yes. And I think August was the one gentleman, but I think there was another guy in October that made a mistake, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think that's a good reminder for everyone. When you lock, you are kind of protecting your funds against wallet hackers and yourself. There's a lot of pros to locking, but just make sure when you're interacting with the code that you're clicking all the right buttons and you're not operating with those platforms when you're not fully aware or when you're distracted. And if you do have any questions, you could always go to Banana Stream or the Telegram and ask questions before you start clicking away.
Yeah. And the unlocks in March and April, well, I'm pretty sure that was people early unlocking to go chase a shiny object at the time.
That happens as well.
Yeah. I think we're going to see a lot of unlocks as price goes up. You know, we averaged last year 395 million per month. And that average has come down a little bit, but it might go back. Here's our token distribution for pTGC and UFO. And I think we've seen this slide before. And like for pTGC, I just get it off the DApp. And UFO, I don't remember where I get it, but I do. PTGC total fees generated from the 5% fee. Whoops, my little guide at the top is incorrect. Is it incorrect? Hold up. Some of these slides are new, guys, and I have not spent much time on this one, obviously. I need to fix it. Sorry about that. I'll make a note to fix that one. Because I can't. Oh. No, I'm sorry. I can't tell you. I can't unpack that slide.
It's a secret.
No, it's not a secret.
Oh,
I just need to go back and like put
Figure
notes
it out.
on it. Huh?
You need to figure out what it's talking about there.
Yeah. It's just the fees generated from the 5% fee, but I don't know what it's supposed to tell me. And it's going to be the same thing for UFO. Okay. Now this is, I think we're on the last slide. But this is interesting. This is one that I built, I think, last week, and it highlights compounding, the value of compounding frequently versus like daily, weekly, and monthly compounding and how much you would earn. Like daily is way too frequent. Monthly is a little too not frequent enough, and then weekly seems to be the sweet spot.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, you don't want to do it too much where you're just spending gas for no reason. You want to put a little bit of time in between that, but you also still want to compound. I think in the early days, I kind of ran some of those numbers too. And this was when you're getting a lot more tokens as well. And I was kind of looking at, and I did some numbers, and I found that, hey, maybe it's a month thing. You're not losing too much by waiting a whole month, but then you're also not exposing yourself to too much button clicking as well.
Yep.
So it sounds like a week's also really good too.
Yeah.
But I don't remember the exact things, but I think that's what I came up with back in the day. Like, hey, the additional tokens you get by doing this like every other day really doesn't make sense. Where it made clearest sense was, hey, look at it once a month and do it once a month. No reason to expose yourself to risk if you aren't making that much by doing it a crazy amount more.
Yep. And here's PTGC tokens represented in sea creatures positions, paired tokens. So like we have a dolphin position in our hex pool. We have a shark position in our pulse pool. A shark's value of PLS, and we have whale positions in your mom, X, and UFO. And then same thing with UFO. And that's the last slide, man.
Cool. Yeah, we made it through.
Yep.
Yeah, that's one thing I think that's super powerful about PTGC and UFO is the amount of exposure that PTGC and UFO give you to the other amazing assets on chain. You know what I mean? I think it would be naive to say that we were the only good asset on chain and everything else sucks. I think, Richard's products and other products on chain are also going to do very well. And one thing cool about PTGC and UFO is you're not only exposed to them, but you're generating revenue off of their movements. So usually when you just hold these assets, if they go on a run up and then they come back down, if you're a long-term holder, not a trader, I'm not really a trader, so I fall under that long-term holder category. I don't make anything off of those movements. Those movements actually don't benefit me in any way. But when you hold PTGC, the movements of the assets that we're bonded to are actually paying us and actually buying and burning the supply of the asset that I'm storing my value in.
Yep. All right, man. Is there anything else you want to talk about on this stream?
No, I think we're good.
Okay. Well, guys, we will be on Spaces tomorrow at 7 a.m. Pacific. And that should be in everybody's Twitter. I'll post it up in Telegram tomorrow also. And yeah, hopefully we get something interesting from Richard today. I'm excited to see what that might be. That might, help PulseChain or the Grays currencies. Anything that helps PulseChain is going to help the Grace currencies.
100%. I can't think there's a possibility that what this protocol that's coming out does not help Richard's products. So I just keep thinking like, wow, whatever's going to come out right now is about to just help pTGC and UFO drastically.
Yeah. Richard doesn't do anything halfway. So, and he's teasing us on Twitter. So it wouldn't be fair. It wouldn't be right. He would never live it down if he launched or whatever it is. I don't think he said that he's launching it. He just says he's aware of something launching, but he wouldn't tease it out if it was going to be a dud. So it is going to be something either a medium deal or a big deal, from my perspective.
Yeah.
So, all right, man. Well, let's shut it down, and we'll be on Spaces tomorrow, guys. Thanks for tuning in.
Cool, guys. See ya.